Oh, another night at Hampton, another Phish recap. We will have one more show tomorrow. But what did they have in store tonight? Night number two here at Hampton. Well, they opened up with Boogie On Reggae Woman. Quite a few covers here in the first set. And then they weren't done down here. But all right, so, and some solid covers, really. I mean, who's going to complain about Boogie On Reggae Woman opening up a show? Not one if I really think of as an opener. Mike's been hot. Mike has been more than hot. Mike has been kind of thunderous lately here. And going to be some tone talk here about Trey, but Mike has just found something, really going. I'd love to know what it was. Something at the Sphere. They said, and somewhere in an interview or something, one of them said that they learned some things at the Sphere that they would take forward with them, and boy, it sure appears they have, because another good night. Maybe not my favorite show of these 8 so far, or 7, I should say, but another strong show under their belt. So let's just get to the show. I started to go, and then we took a little break. So Boogie On, we got some light jamming here, and of course Mike just starting out early and often tonight. And then Undermind getting in. Glad to see Undermind has started to fade a little bit. In the teens, it was one of the strongest. Certainly one of the strongest first set songs they had. I would say in the teens. I think. I don't know. Well, it was great, right? It wasn't all about just that one time at Dick's. So Undermind sticking around, bouncing around the room. They just kind of felt like bare minimum bouncing tonight. And then we get into Birds of a Feather. The bees were a bit wild here early on. It happens from time to time. Trey gets out the dictionary of Phish and gets stuck on a letter. Birds of a Feather, though, all right, things are starting to heat up here. I mean, this one, once it got going, I mean, it's never really like a low tempo song, but man, the tempo was up and it just kept going and going. Trey's tone, like I was saying about the tone talk, just excellent on this one. And really, it was really a lot of Trey. You could hear Paige back there trying to go to town with it. Obviously, Fishman, he's got to do some work on Birds of a Feather. Let me get over to this Esther here. Okay. Esther's going to be rare, but after this fire show, maybe everybody needed to calm down a bit. You could see that place many times tonight on the webcast when it would light up. It just seemed like every single person in that place was fired up at all moments. So maybe Esther was needed to calm people down. The dictionary of Phish. How many words does that song have? So then Funky Bitch, kind of surprising, not one of my favorites, really. If I'm there, I'm thinking, maybe, do I need to go to the bathroom? Do I need a drink? But Funky Bitch tonight really seemed like it had a little extra to it, The rock songs really did tonight. I mean, they are in an arena, I suppose, the Coliseum. It's an arena. All right, I think, what did they play hockey there at one point? What did they do in that place? Is it just for Phish shows? Grateful Dead, maybe? King Gizzard will play there. All right, so let's move over here to It's Ice. I'm happy to hear It's Ice. This one just, not that it was just like super flubbed or anything. It just it just wasn't real crisp, It just wasn't like, they didn't really quite just blast that one. It wasn't really a night for It's Ice, It was more about the big arena rockers, and then even the jams kind of turned in that. And the Ether Edge, it was a little, toward the end there, as it was building and building and just getting, again, kind of like the Birds of a Feather. It was just a big jam that was rocking, and just wasn't really all quite together. Again, it wasn't just like, it just didn't seem as smooth as the Birds of a Feather jam was, I suppose. But still pretty wild. And Ether Edge, it's had a few that's jammed out. I would put this one up there with the big ones. And then Moonage Daydream, kind of like the Funky Bitch. Wow. It just, and I think another one earlier this summer when they covered it. Now that is one that was crisp and fit right in. They were on that one, and much more of this arena rock to come. And I'm okay with the arena rock. So they were flying through some songs here. Took a couple of breaks into jam, and get over to the second set. Opens with Everything's Right. All right, not quite as powerful a start to this set as we got with the Boogie On. Simple. I think everybody's probably happy to see Simple here, sitting in the 2 spot in the second set, and it didn't go. Okay, it did. Maybe just not in length. We've gotten so spoiled with multiple 20-minute jams in some shows. You see something that's, in that 15 to 20-minute range, you feel like it didn't really go all the way. And then don't be fooled by this, Not like what we got last night in the Leftover Tweezer. This leftover simple was just kind of giving it a proper finish. And the Simple Jam, there's parts of the Simple Jam where I was not on board with Trey's tone. It's as great as this sounded over here, not so great sounding there. But once they kind of hit that peak, though, Paige McConnell, he was just, he was certainly the highlight of the crescendo of the Simple. And we get over here to Wave of Hope. Wave of Hope a little different tonight. Kind of kept it, just kind of stayed in the same gear throughout, really. You know, maybe they had did a little too much flexing in Simple. And then, so Wave of Hope finally does give way to a proper finish to Simple. Sea of Stars got really weird, very quiet. You know, almost you see those comparisons to Grateful Dead. Very, yeah, just kind of spacey, sort of. Not that, and it just kind of felt like maybe I don't know. I'm a Sea of Stars guy, but, you know, this is Hampton here. You know, we only got 6 sets. Do we got time? This feels like maybe a festival, a 3-set show, maybe. It just felt like, I don't know. I'm not calling the shots. Trey seems to know what he's doing. And the nights where he doesn't, Mike directs him. So, all right, I don't know. Got a Jibboo, a nice bridge back into the rock was the good Jibboo. Good Jibboo. It was a good Jibboo. It was a good Jibboo. Big time. That's when you know I ain't even going to try. I ain't real good at G's. I was going to turn it into good Jibboo. It'd be NG. You know, some of them African, Cameroonian fella spells his name with an NG at the beginning. I don't know. All right, not everybody's going to be a fucking gringo. All right, so there we go. Got a Jibboo takes us into what was really just Rock City the rest of the night. Suzy Greenberg, kind of oddly rarely played. Julius certainly calming down. That one was a much regular at one point. Izabella, always going to be welcome. Like I said, rolling out some great covers tonight. I don't even know if Izabella competed with Moonage Daydream, though, man. This thing is just hitting right now. And, but certainly awesome. And then Possum after that, if that didn't get you. Maybe it was just the weirdness of Sea of Stars, you know. People were just, you know, not that he was losing them or anything. They were walking out, chucking tomatoes at the stage, but probably a lot of like, whoa, man. So, and then the Jibboo Jam will take you there. Take you out on a boat. So then we just, it's Rock City all the way through Possum. Just boom, 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 boom. Guitar Hero time. And the other guys obviously had their moments. I don't know, Izabella easily my favorite of those 4. Nice to see Suzy in there. So, what do we have here? I think I like the, I don't know. I jumped to, I think I probably did like the first set. Once again, a lot of shows here lately. I've been liking the first set, maybe even more. All right. Moonage Daydream and Funky Bitch. I'm never a Funky Bitch guy. Real good tonight. I don't know. And nod to Mike Gordon. Guy's been steady. We got a cat over here tonight. You guys want to check out the cat real quick? Let's see what he's up to. He made it through the whole show, really. You know, I think it's at Possum. He was like, all right, enough's enough. Called on old Chips enough. Floppy, the people demanded you make an appearance. Now your little seepies. He's feeling better. He was a little rough yesterday. He had one of his asthma attacks. Threw up a couple times. But all was well this morning. He found a spider in the bathroom and he ended that spider. Boom. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got one more big night. Fireworks tomorrow. Indoors.